Welcome back to the English Learning Podcast. I'm Brain.
And I'm Anna. We're so glad you're here with us today.
Absolutely. Whether you're on a walk, commuting, or just relaxing at home, we're here to help you level up your English one conversation at a time.
And today's episode is one I'm really excited about. It's called Think Smart, Speak Fluent.
That's right. We're diving into how thinking smart can actually help you speak more fluently in English. It's not just about studying harder, it's about learning in a smarter, more effective way.
Exactly. We're going to explore what it means to think smart, how your brain can be trained to think in English, and the habits that truly help you speak confidently and naturally.
If you've ever felt stuck or thought, why can I understand English, but I can't speak fluently? Then this episode is for you.
So grab a notebook or just get comfy and let's jump into it. Because speaking fluently isn't magic, it's about strategy.
Let's get started.
All right, brain, let's kick things off. When we say think smart, what exactly are we talking about in the context of language learning?
Good question, Anna. Thinking smart means using your brain in an efficient and strategic way. Instead of just working harder like memorizing thousands of words, it's about finding better methods that give you real results.
Yes, it's like the difference between someone who tries to learn everything from a textbook and someone who learns by actually using the language in real life.
Exactly. For example, some learners spend hours studying grammar rules, but they can't hold a basic conversation. Meanwhile, others focus on listening, repeating, and speaking, and they progress faster.
Thinking smart is about asking yourself, what do I really need to become fluent? Is it more grammar, or is it more speaking practice, listening, thinking in English?
And it's also about managing your time and energy wisely. Let's be honest, not everyone has hours each day to study, but even 20 focused minutes a day, done smartly, can be powerful.
Totally agree. You know, Brain, I once worked with a student who used to spend 2 hours reading English newspapers every day, but he couldn't speak fluently. Once he switched to listening to podcasts and repeating out loud for just 30 minutes, his fluency improved in just a few weeks.
That's a perfect example. Smart learners choose methods that fit their goals. If you want to speak, you've got to speak. Reading helps, but it's not enough if speaking is your goal.
So thinking smart also means being honest about your weaknesses and then choosing the best strategy to improve them.
Exactly. It's like learning to ride a bike. You can read all the theory, but unless you get on the bike and start pedaling, you won't really learn.
And in language learning, the smart thinkers are the ones who experiment, reflect, and adjust. They don't just follow the crowd, they find what works for them.
So true. And if you're listening to this podcast right now, it means you're already thinking smart, because you're learning through real conversation, not just rules.
That's a win already. All right, coming up next, we're going to talk about how smart thinking actually leads to fluent speaking. Stick around.
So now that we've talked about what it means to think smart, let's connect it directly to speaking fluently. Anna, have you noticed how people who think smart usually sound more natural when they speak?
Oh, absolutely. They may not know every big word, but their communication is smooth. It's because they use strategies that help them express ideas clearly without overcomplicating things.
Right. One of the biggest links between smart thinking and fluent speaking is preparation. Smart learners prepare phrases, responses, and questions in advance. They build a mental toolbox.
Exactly. It's not about memorizing long sentences. It's about having flexible patterns in your brain. Like instead of memorizing, I'm planning to visit the museum next weekend, you just need to know how I'm planning to works and you can finish it however you like.
Yes, that's thinking smart, focusing on useful structures you can actually reuse in real life. Another great example is knowing how to buy time in a conversation, like saying, "Let me think," or "That's a good question."
Those little phrases are gold. They keep the conversation moving and make you sound more fluent, even if you're still thinking of the next word.
You know what else is smart? Practicing mental rehearsal. That means imagining situations like ordering food or talking to a friend, and practicing what you would say. Athletes do it, musicians do it, and smart language learners do it too.
Definitely. And when you rehearse like that, your brain starts recognizing patterns faster so you don't have to stop and translate. That's when fluency really starts kicking in.
Another point is, smart thinkers aren't afraid of making mistakes. They see every conversation as practice, not a performance.
That mindset shift is huge. If you're always trying to be perfect, your brain freezes. But if you say, hey, this is just practice suddenly, you relax, and that's when the fluent version of you starts showing up.
So, in short, smart thinking creates the right mindset and tools, which lead directly to more fluent speaking.
Beautifully said. Coming up next, we'll share some smart learning habits that you can start using today to boost your fluency. Don't miss it. All right, it's time to get practical. Let's talk about the smart habits that really boost fluency. These are things you can do every day, even if you're busy.
Absolutely. First up, active listening. This is so different from just hearing English. Active listening means you're paying close attention to how native speakers talk, how they pause, their tone, their expressions.
Right. It's like training your ears to understand real English, not textbook English. And the smart way to do it? Listen to something interesting podcasts, movies, YouTube, and mimic what you hear.
Exactly. And that leads into one of my favorite techniques, shadowing. You listen to a short piece of audio and repeat it immediately, trying to match the speaker's tone and speed.
It might feel weird at first, but it really works. Shadowing forces you to stay focused, and it improves your pronunciation, rhythm, and fluency all at once.
Here's another smart habit. Thinking in English. It sounds simple, but it's a game changer. Even if you're just walking down the street, try to describe what you see in English.
Yes, I used to do this all the time. Like, I see a red car, that person is talking on the phone. I'm going to the supermarket. It trains your brain to stop translating and start speaking directly in English.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be complex. Simple, everyday thoughts in English help you build fluency naturally.
Okay, here's one that's often overlooked, speaking aloud to yourself. Some learners think it's silly, but it's actually one of the best ways to practice speaking without pressure.
Yes, you can talk to yourself about your day, your plans, or even what you're doing while cooking. It builds confidence and gets your mouth used to forming English sentences.
Another smart habit, using what you already know. Don't wait until your vocabulary is perfect. Use simple words smartly. You don't need complicated to sound fluent, you need clear and confident.
That's a big one. Fluency is about flow, not fancy words. I've met learners who speak with ease using just basic vocabulary because they know how to use it well.
And let's talk about one more review with purpose. Don't just review everything you've ever learned. Review what you use most often, phrases you actually say in real life.
Exactly. If you always talk about your job or hobbies, make sure you review vocabulary and expressions for those topics. That's smart learning, customized and relevant.
So, to recap, some of the smartest habits include active listening, shadowing thinking in English, talking to yourself, using simple language, well reviewing with purpose.
If you start even 2 of these this week, you'll feel the difference. Smart habits create steady, powerful progress.
Coming up next, we're diving deeper into how you can train your brain to think in English. Stay with us.
All right, this is one of my favorite parts. Let's talk about how to actually train your brain to think in English. Because when you start thinking in English, speaking becomes much easier and more natural.
Totally agree. And here's the thing, your brain is already trained to think in your native language. So now, we're just building a new pathway for English. And the best way to do that? Start small.
Yes, you don't have to think in full paragraphs. Just start with simple words and phrases. For example, instead of thinking, I need to go to the store in your native language, try thinking it in English. Even if it's just, go to store, it's a step in the right direction.
Exactly. One smart technique is to label your environment in English. Look around and name what you see: chair, window, notebook. Then try using it in a sentence like, the notebook is on the table.
That's powerful. Another method I love is called self-talk. We mentioned it earlier, but here's how you can take it deeper. As you go through your day, describe what you're doing in English. I'm brushing my teeth. Now I'm making coffee. It's raining today.
And if you don't know a word, don't stop. Use what you do know. Say, I'm drinking, a hot thing. From a cup, it wakes me up. Boom! You just trained your brain to stay in English mode.
Yes, that's key. Don't switch back to your native language every time you're unsure. Train your brain to work through it in English. That's what fluent speakers do all the time.
And here's a fun one. Imagine conversations. Think about how you would talk to someone in English. For example, if I meet a tourist, what would I say? If I call customer service, how do I explain the problem?
That's a brilliant exercise. You can do it while walking, cooking, or lying in bed. Just create fake conversations in your head, or even say them out loud. You're literally building mental muscle.
And finally, expose yourself to English constantly. The more your brain hears and sees English, the more natural it becomes to think in it. Podcasts, songs, signs, social media, it all adds up.
The brain learns through repetition and exposure. So the more you surround yourself with English, the easier it is for your thoughts to switch over.
So if you're listening now and thinking, how do I begin? Start today. Pick a moment and say something in English in your mind. Keep doing it daily. That's how fluency starts.
Coming up, we'll give you some smart speaking techniques to sound more fluent in real conversations. Stay tuned.
Now that your brain is starting to think in English, let's talk about smart speaking techniques that will help you sound fluent even if your English isn't perfect yet.
Exactly. Because fluency doesn't mean perfection, it means flow. And there are smart techniques that can help you keep that flow going in real conversations.
First, use conversation fillers. These are short words or phrases like, well, let me see, or that's a good question. Native speakers use them all the time.
Yes, and they give you a moment to think. Instead of pausing awkwardly or going silent, you can use these fillers to buy time while still sounding natural.
Next, smart technique chunking. This means speaking in short, natural groups of words instead of word by word. For example, instead of I am going to the store, say I'm going to the store in one smooth chunk. Here's another technique paraphrasing. If you forget a word, don't stop. Explain it another way. Like if you forget the word fridge, you can say the thing that keeps food cold.
Exactly. Chunking helps with rhythm and makes you sound more fluent. A good way to practice this is to listen and repeat real conversations from movies or podcasts, just like we're doing now. That's smart speaking. Fluent speakers do this too when they can't find the exact word. It keeps the conversation going and shows strong communication skills.
And here's one more follow-up questions. If you're nervous, don't try to say too much. Just ask the other person something like, what do you mean? Or, can you tell me more? This keeps the conversation moving and takes the pressure off you.
Yes, Fluency is also about interaction, not just what you say, but how you keep the conversation alive. These techniques make you sound confident and comfortable.
So, quick recap: smart speaking means using fillers, chunking, paraphrasing, follow-up questions.
Try them out in your next conversation, even if it's just with yourself. Coming up next, we'll talk about how to overcome fear and build your confidence while speaking.
That's right, because smart learners know that confidence is just as important as knowledge.
All right, it's time for some real talk. Because let's face it, learning to speak English fluently comes with struggles. But smart learners don't just complain, they find smart solutions.
So true. One of the most common struggles? Fear of making mistakes. Learners often feel embarrassed or afraid of being judged.
Here's the smart solution: reframe your mistakes. See every mistake as a sign of progress. If you're making mistakes, it means you're using the language, and that's how fluency grows.
Exactly. Another struggle? Not knowing enough words. People say, I can't speak because I don't know the vocabulary.
The smart fix? Use what you already know well. Master basic words and phrases, and practice saying them in different ways. Fluency isn't about big words, it's about clarity and flow.
And here's a big one: blanking out in conversation. You suddenly forget everything when it's your turn to speak.
Yep, that's real. But here's the smart move. Prepare your go-to phrases in advance. Things like, let me think, or I'm not sure how to say it. But these give your brain a moment to catch up.
Smart thinking in action. And finally, lack of speaking practice. Many learners say, I have no one to talk to.
Solution: create your own speaking environment. Talk to yourself. Record voice messages. Join language exchange apps. Make opportunities to speak.
No excuses, just smart strategies. Remember, every learner struggles. The difference is how you respond.
And the smart response is, keep going, keep speaking, and keep learning.
Up next, let's bring it all together with some final thoughts and a quick fluency action plan.
All right, friends, we've covered a lot today, from smart thinking to fluent speaking. Now, let's wrap it up with the key takeaways and a simple action plan you can start using today. Here are the big takeaways. Smart thinking means learning efficiently, not just hard. Fluency is about flow, not perfection. Habits like shadowing, thinking in English, and self-talk build real speaking skills. Smart speaking uses fillers, paraphrasing, and chunking to stay smooth. Every struggle has a smart solution. Don't stop. Adapt.
Exactly. And now, here's your fluency action plan for the week. 1. Practice shadowing for 5 minutes a day with your favorite English audio. 2. Think in English during daily routines, no translating. 3. Talk out loud to yourself for 2 minutes about your day or your plans. 4 conversation fillers in your speaking practice. 5. Celebrate your mistakes, they're part of your growth.
5 simple steps, but if you stick with them, you'll be amazed at the progress you make in just 1 week.
And remember, smart learning is consistent learning. Show up every day, even for a few minutes. Your future fluent self will thank you.
That's it for today's episode of the English Learning Podcast. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with a friend.
And leave a comment: what smart habit are you starting this week? We'd love to hear from you.
Until next time, think smart.
Thanks so much for spending time with us today. We hope today's episode gave you real value and practical tools to help you become a more fluent, confident English speaker.
If you enjoyed this episode, we'd love it if you could follow or subscribe to the English Learning Podcast so you never miss a new episode.
And if something we said today really clicked with you, leave us a comment. What was your favorite smart tip? What's one thing you're going to try this week?
We read every comment, and your feedback helps us create better content just for you.
Also, don't forget to share this podcast with a friend who's also learning English. Let's grow this learning community together.
And for more practice, check out our other episodes in the playlist. There's something for every learner at every level.
Until next time, keep thinking smart, keep speaking fluent, and remember, your progress matters.
Take care, and we'll see you in the next episode.